Welcome back to another exciting pre-class video. Today we'll be talking about inverses. Specifically, what is an inverse? If we have a function f of x equals y, then we say that a function f inverse of x is the inverse function if f inverse of y equals x. Another name we could give this is the reverse of f, because f inverse does the opposite of f. I like to say f inverse undoes f, and we'll talk about what that means. There are certain conditions that are required for a function to have an inverse, but we'll talk about those in class. So, let's say we have a function defined that f of 1 equals 2, f of 3 equals 4, and f of 5 equals 20. Even though we don't have a name for this function, we don't have a graph of every single point on this function, we can still find the inverse at a few specific points. Specifically, f inverse of 2 is going to equal 1 because f of 1 equals 2. Similarly, what's f inverse of 20? Well, we're looking for the input to the function f that gives the output 20. F inverse of 20 equals 5 because f of 5 equals 20. And in general, f inverse of y equals x whenever f of x equals y. Notice we're switching the inputs and the outputs. That's why it's called an inverse. Let's say we have a function, g of x equals 3x plus 1. If we want to find g of 2, this is just evaluating our function at x equals 2. And so that means we're going to write g of 2 equals 3 times 2 plus 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. However, we can find the value of g inverse of 2. Let's call it g inverse of 2 equals x, because this is the same thing as saying g of x equals 2. We know that g of x is 3x plus 1, so we could write 3x plus 1 equals 2, noticing that this is just g of x, and then we could figure out what value of x gets us there. We could subtract 1 from both sides, getting us 3x equals 1, or x equals 1/3. In this case, we could be very clear and write g inverse of 2 equals 1/3 because this is the same thing as g of 1/3 equals 2. In class, we are going to define an inverse function in your own words. We're going to discuss what type of functions actually have an inverse, and how to find the formula for an inverse function algebraically as well as graphically. See you then.